Hello, I'm CJ Miller in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And come check us out. Let us know what you think. And here, I'm going to be cooking. I did chicken last week. This is going to be a different treatment. It's going to be a fried chicken, but it's going to be a different type of fried chicken. Uh, I took the chicken drumsticks, coated them in a sauce that is an aioli, a garlic aioli. What that is a mayonnaise-based sauce with a spicy aioli in it. Just got it well coated, and then the flour that I reserved. Do you remember if you the other video if you watched from a few days ago? I used the flour, the seasoned flour that I made for the first round of chicken, and I knew I was going to do some other stuff. Didn't know exactly what, but I reserved it. And chicken flour is best used with other chicken flour. I want to keep it, uh, very safe. And don't leave it out. But yeah, so keep it airtight. Keep it, you know. Uh, Keep it to where bacteria really can't get to it. But this is cool. The mayonnaise gives, or aioli, which is a mayonnaise-based sauce with garlic or whatever. But you could use mayonnaise if you didn't have aioli. But I had this spicy aioli. What it does is it gives a kind of a zip. And then I coated the chicken and kind of get sort of a wet batter. And then I'm going to shallow fry on all sides in the pan until done. I'm not going to double process. I'm not going to bake it in the oven. I'm going to let it finish in the pan. This works really great with chicken breast, by the way. And you're going to love how it's looking. Come on, I'll show you. Okay, so one of the main things about chicken, once you get a good crust on it, you want to kind of reduce the heat. And with the chicken, you want to handle as gently as possible, but you do want to give a frequent turn here and there. You can see how crispy this is getting. But it's best to handle this as gently as possible. And I really should be concentrating more on what I'm doing instead of making this. But and you're going to lose some batter. You always do in a pan fry. That's a penne. If you need to, you can take some of the batter from the bottom of the aluminum bowl that I'm using, the mixing bowl and you can put on top. But you don't want to do that past like your first turn, and it's best just to deal with some of the skin crisping up and you losing some of the batter. That's okay. That's okay. There's going to be plenty of flavor. There's going to be plenty of deliciousness to go around. And plus, you can always deglaze the bottom from the drippings and use in anything if you want to. And then we'll come back after the click when this is done, and we'll have a little tasting. I really won't do too much food until midnight. Last night I had like some pork chops that I made, and with the pork chop, I also served, I had a friend over, I had pork chop, and then I served an omelet, a French style omelet, which is surprisingly easy to make. And the secret to flipping an omelet is that you have the edge of the pan in the lip of the plate, and when you flip it, it'll flip right out. If it's a good, non-stick, omelet pan, all the better. But if you can't do that, then you can put enough oil or butter or something in the bottom of the pan that the egg will slide right out. And with a non-stick pan, you never want to go above, just medium. And really with most cooking, you don't need to go above the medium setting on your oven anyway. If you could just because I'm getting a good sizzle out of this, right? And this is, halfway between, uh, it's halfway between, I would say, well, actually, it's a little under halfway between medium and low. So, you know, uh, yeah. This is getting this sizzle on setting number 2. Now, granted, I started out on medium and then got the crispness, and then I reduced it because I want to cook this slower so that I don't burn the outside of the chicken as I'm trying to get the heat inside of the chicken. This really is just as easy as the two-step of getting the crispiness and then baking the chicken. But it's a different type of coating, a different type of crust. And the whole idea here is we want to get the exposed skin that's not going to grab the chicken. We want that also too, because this was like there wasn't a long marinade or anything like that. What you want is to get as much of the outside as crispy as possible. I'm gonna give this one more turn here, just to check the underside. See how it's even getting better? So you want to do frequent turnings until it's done. I probably want to do for these drumsticks, at least 15 minutes, and then check it. Check one. A chef, you know how a chef will check a food like this is you get to sample a chicken leg. I'll see you after the click. And you do want to cook this slow. Looks like hell in the pan. We want these juices that are coming out of here, we want them to not be pink. We want them to run clear. So this is not done yet. But it's starting to pull back. So I imagine just a few more minutes and this would be done. Still giving the occasional turn every few minutes. Keep it covered when not working with it. Helps to avoid splatter, also holds heat inside. So when this chicken fried in the French panade style, which is lightly dredged, this is, when it's done, drain them. There's something else. This is a good way to do chicken that you want to put in a primavera sauce. I hope you can hear me okay. I've got the fan going. Let me turn that off for a moment. I'll be quick on this. I just wasn't sure if I was being drowned out by the noise. So when it separates like this, that may happen, and that's why this is a really good thing to do with smaller pieces, wings, everything, good shaking of herbs and everything. Or you can do it with boneless, skinless chicken breast or chicken thighs works well here. There's a lot of flavor here. I just happen to have had drumsticks on hand. Truth be told, boneless chicken works best for this aioli and seasoned flour dredge treatment and panade. That treatment would also work. You don't want to mix, you don't want to intermingle your oils and your flours and things like that. But that treatment would also work for fish, a panade fried fish. I'm not going to do a side dish with this. One of the reasons why I'm cooking all these meats as of late is because I am getting right back into my keto. We had my nephew's graduation and we went to a Spanish restaurant, and I was kind of not necessarily overly concerned with diet for a few days. And when I get focused on keto, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got some chicken, some beef, some pork, something in hand or on hand that I could just do a quick heat up, and my snack will be keto oriented, keto diet, carnivorous versus snack chips or candy or something like that, and yeah, so um, that's that. Now, while I've got this other batch of chicken, I've got 3 more or 4 more chicken legs uh, in batch number 2 that's going to be going, and you know. Uh, Now remember, this will continue as it drains to heat up on the inside. If you, well, how do you do this? Let's see. I guess there's only one way to do it, and that's to mingle this in front of you. Let's test the doneness of this chicken. Actually, I'm going to wait on that. I want this to drain a little bit more. Aha, and I want to talk about this stack of cups. I've seen these things around before. And they're pretty and they look nice. And how interesting this matches these two. So these two go together, these 3 go together. This one goes with this. Aha, this is like the little kids thing, little kids toy. I'm going to go ahead and try to obsess and match these things up. 4 of these things. Let's see. But these are like, look at these. These are like little teacups or bowls or whatever. And I don't know how much they are typically, but they are from the world market. Except I found them at a local flea market. A friend of mine likes to. We were just out, and he just lackadaisically just pulled into a flea market, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, 3 and 3. Okay, but I've got to have these things stacked in order because I don't know what the hell. You know what? I love paisley. This kind of thing, so much so. Oh, but look at my shirt. I love these. In the 1990s, if I could find something paisley, I would buy it. I don't know. I loved it. If it was a apparel. So I don't know if that's what you would call this, but it's close enough. Now this is also a table. The same friend. I have a few of these, and I was like, I need to go to Walmart and get some more of these little tables. They're not very expensive there, but it's like I'll go next payday or whatever when I've got more money, and he was like, well, no, I've got one of these tables. We just happened to stop in his place. And he was like, oh, grab that table. And it's kind of cool. And then this I got from, the flea market. And, I guess there's this. It needs to be cleaned up, but it's very, it's in very good shape. And that is kind of cool because I have some teas, some hot teas, and this is great. This is wonderful. So wunderbar. I'm really grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for a lot of good things in my life. And that is a lesson that I learned some time ago, that when stress hits me up in my life, whatever is going on, and believe me, there's stuff going on at any given time in anyone's life. If you look hard enough, you're going to find a reason to stress. Sometimes you won't have to look very hard. And when you have a few different things and they stack up on you, like these cups stack up, it can stress you. It can stress you out. And so then it behooves me to make use of one of the many tools that I've learned about through years of therapy and years of consultation with sponsors and mentors and, well-wishers and people who've had success in these areas. And one of those tools, and never underestimate it, is a gratitude list. I know that sounds like What the hell are you talking about? Sometimes, now I'm not a doctor, but I've spoken to a lot of them. um, and sometimes you just got to get the pencil and paper or the pen and paper or whatever, and you've got to keep a journal and purge stuff that's in your mind and get it out. And that can help. But another thing, you've actually got to make a decision to meditate upon some points of gratitude within your life, even in the midst of a bunch of negative bullshit going on. And it could be anything, from, loved ones not behaving in a way that you think that they should behave, or loved ones, going through an illness, or going through some sort of unsurmountable situation, and yeah, whatever it is, whatever is going on, you've got to arm yourself with the ability to sit yourself down right here and to talk about, and if you can't talk it out, and even if you can talk it out, seriously, what I'm saying is get the paper, get the pencil. There is something organic, even about this most, just the most fundamental things of written communication. And this is yourself communicating to yourself, basically, to sit down and make yourself meditate upon, for the purpose of writing down 6 to 10 things. People, places, things, events, those types of things. Those wonderful things that get us through. Doesn't have to be large, doesn't have to be a big thing. You can be, you know what? When I wake up, my breath is, it's kicking. It is, and so I am grateful today that I can maintain my oral hygiene. When I know that not everybody in the world has that. I'm grateful that I have. It could be something simple like that. To, oh my God, I'm grateful to experience the caring and the love and the nurture of another person. And it can even be something as powerful as, I'm grateful that I can feel the love of God in my life today, regardless, and that's just, it can be just some examples. And sometimes when you're in the depths of your trials, it is hard to remember that with all that going on, there are always points of gratitude, reasons to look at something and be glad for it, and counterbalance the awareness of the troubles in one's life with the awareness of what is positive and reason for gratitude can be very powerful. And if you ever find yourself in that situation, try it out. Now let me go over here and flip this chicken. I'm very grateful, by the way, that I am asymptomatic with my diabetes type 2. Haven't had to stick my finger in several years now, so that is cool. Because I live in an age and a place where I can get the information that I need to get. Whereas 60, 70 years ago, maybe this would go on so long that you didn't realize it, So, maybe when you become aware of a type 2 diabetes, maybe it's, my God, 60, 70 years ago. Maybe people just don't realize, hey, and they kind of feel that's the rest of their life. Well, that's why I first felt for that first couple of days. I just thought when I got that diagnosis that this is the beginning of the end. I don't have to, blah, 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 blah. But then it was like, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. I really don't like vegetables. I love meat. That means the only thing I've really got to compromise on would be some carbs and some sugary drinks. And I've already had the experience of tasting a Coke Zero a time or two, and it's like, well, it's not the worst thing. Let me see. Let me try to be open-minded with this. And then I got rid of the original Coke, kind of transitioned to Coke Zero sugary, no sugar drinks and everything. And it's like, that was the big part. And then monitoring my carbohydrate intake was another big part. And then, of course, getting less sedentary, getting a little bit more physically active in my life. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful when I get to go to the gym. Just kind of see this, just talk it through, and you can write it out if you want to. Actually, I recommend writing it out. If you have trouble, especially remembering things that you don't know, that the gratitude will outweigh the negative. If you can't feel that, maintain a gratitude list. Look at it every couple of days and add some things to it as it comes to you. Let me get over here and do the flip this chicken over. All right, so it's time. So this one actually did a little bit better. This particular batch. Yeah. As I handle it, though, I got to talk and I didn't come over here and flip it as often as I should, but it's not too bad. I think this batch, I think it's because it's set around, I really should be concentrating on flipping this chicken instead of talking. But this is an important video about that whole gratitude list thing. Don't forget it. I'm clicking with chicken. Then there's all kind of stickums on the bottom. So when you remove this, you can take some of the breading from the bottom and just kind of like lay it back on top of the chicken. Or whatever. You could do like some of the, if you're doing fish, you would take the crumbles from the bottom of the pan and you would put them on the plate, kind of fish and chip style. Let the crumbles come together. This is also something, you can take these crumbles and smash them up a little bit and get a good roux out of it if you want to make a gravy. I'm not doing that, but one day I'll show you that. But I have a gravy over the pork chops that I did the other day, actually just last night. So I really don't need to do that again. I used a cornstarch gravy. This would be a flour roux, and yeah. Maybe I'll reserve it and set it aside, and in a few days come back and make a sauce when it's time for me to eat some carbs. But it's gonna be a few days before I need like carbs. I had a bagel and last night for dinner, with my dinner. But then I did have some Saturdays. I went to an event and had like a couple of donuts, but and I don't mind that because I'm usually so good with my diet and physical activity that I can splurge a little bit, but that needs to be the exception and not the rule. Let me get this turned down a little bit, the heat. As I'm watching this, and this is the last batch, I can commence to doing some cleanup in the kitchen. Getting things ready, and I'm gonna have to wipe this stove down from the grease splatter and everything. So yeah, you can get prepared to do that, and even start, if your kitchen allows. May as well multitask. You know, the old saying used to be a good cook cleans as he goes, or whatever. Um, so let me come back over here. I'll see you after the click. Get this pan back. So this second batch of chicken is done, and I just realized what's going to become of the breading at the bottom. You're gonna love this. So like I said, this is just a really rustic kind of thing. This would have been much better with the boneless chicken thighs. I'll have to look for some of those the next time I'm out at the market. But I can't wait to show you what's happening to the pan here. Let's go check it out. I want to switch from this metal to another utensil. But look at all this goodness in the bottom of the pan. I do want to kind of scrape it around, get that goodness off, and then we want to drain off any excess oil. Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have clicked it before I stepped away. One thing about cooking with floury substances is that you will have to do a cleanup after you cook. Okay, so this is hot chicken fat and vegetable oil blend. We want to drain off as much of that as possible. Really do. You can strain it. But we want to get rid of as much as possible. And this is good and sticky to the side. That's good. So this right here, you know what it looks like to me? Stuffing, almost a stove top style stuffing. So I'm just going to add some aromatics to it, toss it around, and call that a stuffing. One thing you don't want to do, depending upon, but you really don't want to. You don't want to put too much of this hot oil down your sink. You want this to go to where it's not going to mess up your system, you know, your pipe system or whatever. A lot of places they'll have a proper means of disposing of old grease or whatever. Some of this, now this, because it's been, you know, it's just so much stuff, and I put it in the same, like what I had the breading in, and I hadn't really washed this bowl yet, so I just kind of drained it in here. So this is not viable or really usable or whatever, but you know, you can render that and use the same way I'm using this to make a stuffing. If you were to put this into a clean bowl, you actually could use all that oil and put it in with a flour or cornstarch and make a gravy with it. So, but let's get back over to the stove and see what we can do. I have removed it from the heat, put it on the back burner off of the heat, and as it sits and rests, it may render some more of the oil or the chicken fat from the stuffing. It's very flavorful, and yeah, this may just be great served just like this, like a stuffing. Okay, cumin here, onion powder there, and here we're just going to dump in granulated garlic. For this amount of stuffing, and that's officially what it is now, right? Stuffing. Okay, so that's probably enough. And I just shook out maybe like half a teaspoon because it already had some of these flavors in. And remember, the aioli was a garlic and spicy based aioli that I started this with. Here we're going to give this a stir with a Teflon safe utensil. Wood is better, but these work well too. As with any stuffing, you can add celery, you can add a chopped egg, little bits of onion, and kind of saute it or whatever. But there's so much flavor in here that I'm not going to need to do that. If you were using a less flavorful flour, you could drop in just a little touch of water into which has been diluted 1 or 2 drops of your kitchen bouquet or any aromatic, broth, your mother sauce, which is kind of, well, there are like several mother sauces in French cooking. But if I just talk about mother sauce, just straight mother sauce, what I'm talking about is broth that has been rendered from aromatic vegetables. And just like your carrots, onions, celery, cabbages, anything like that. Anything that you would think of as an aromatic that you can cook down and take the broth off and squeeze out the pulp, that's an aromatic. Then what you can do is you could use a little of that broth and flavor just a touch of it and add to your stuffing. Now this is going to all refrigerate very well or keep very well until it is mealtime. It is too early for mealtime for me, but I'm going to taste just a little bit. I've got a little chicken drumstick over here I'm eyeballing, and I'm going to have just a taste of this because it's going to be lovely. And what you want to do on a keto anyways, you do want to eat in small portions. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably carve a piece of the chicken off. I don't want to eat all that. I don't want to eat like a whole leg right now. Something when you cook your own food, you sometimes just don't want to eat immediately after cooking. My beverage of choice, I tell you. I'm like, it's not exactly high flying. But, okay, so this is essentially a skillet made stuffing. It's happened before where I've done this, and for some reason, and it's weird, maybe, for any different reason, the breading does not cling to the chicken. In that case, you end up with, and I knew that I'm going to lose some of it, but when it stacks up in the bottom of that skillet, largely what happened to a cast iron, but you end up with what is basically a pan roasted chicken that may or may not have a remnants of breading on it, and that's okay. It's very flavorful. I love these chargers that I found that I kind of hem-hawed around with. I saw them a few years ago and didn't like where they were. It was and this was at Kirkland's, and I saw them, and I remember, that I just, I'm not quite sure that's what I want. And it's like I looked around, and it turned out to be, and I didn't have these tables yet, these wooden tables, so it turned out to be the best match for this. So it was kind of cool. I think what it is I had like a paler, like a smaller table that I had gotten, and it was a lighter shade, and the wood have looked atrocious matched up against it. It would not have worked well. I'm telling you, this tastes almost like a holiday stuffing, so it's serendipitous. Well, and maybe that's one of the reasons that a dressing or a stuffing was discovered. Now, but you could put like bits of any sort of sausages in here, anything like that, whatever. Those, like I said, serendipitous, where it starts out, I'm gonna fry some chicken, and it's gonna be a pan-aged chicken. Well, some of this breading was not clinging as well as I would like for it to, and it's because basically I can tell you that I did not let it sit long enough before frying in that skillet. Had I oh wow, I just want to finish this. Had I set the chicken aside in the refrigerator for 30, 45 minutes and then brought it out and put it in the hot oil, it would have grabbed onto it and clung to it. But that was my folly. But oh, what a delicious folly to fall back on. I was like, hey, we can make so you can enjoy this, or you can set it aside until you find another need for flavoring or garnish. You basically, if you didn't want to use it as an edible kind of like side dish like I just did, you actually could take a couple of crumbs from this and use it as a garnish. Sure. You could make a brown gravy using these pan drippings in the brown gravy. There's a southern thing that people do sometimes when, I'm not necessarily a giblet person, but sometimes people will take an egg or two and they will chop it into small pieces and they would put it into their giblet gravy on their holidays so that the egg can help stretch out the texture, a similar texture of a giblet, and you're going to pour it over turkey or dressing or something anyway. So, oh my God. I think it was, this was really good. All those flavors are there. So, a little lesson. Things don't always go as planned, right? Just like life. We got to be able to go with the flow. And only with going with the flow for a little bit can we work with any course correction that we'd like to make. That's just the universe. The universe is powerful, and at any given point in time, it's traveling in the direction that it's traveling in, and it will continue to do so until it is directed to change. But in order to get up next to this time space that you may find yourself in with this event or whatever, you've got to get in line with it, and you've got to go with it. You've got to be going with the flow of that event in order to be in sync with it, in order to be able to direct the change that needs to be directed, at least in the most fruitful and peaceful of ways, So it's a bit of philosophy, and also love and light. God bless. Peace. Good night.